happen. This has been a tricky one and an interesting one with the really heavy snow in western New York and then the rain and the wind. The story, not too far off to the east.
Yeah, a lot of wind because there's so much wind in the lowest levels of the atmosphere. At about a mile up in the atmosphere, there's this low-level jet, and with that, you've got winds of 80, maybe 85, 90 miles per hour, and that is feeding into some of these showers. So it's just windy in general across the Northeast as this system is coming in, but then when you get heavier rain showers, that can bring even more of that momentum downward and really give us a lot of wind. So there is that LLJ, as we call it, and then here's a closer look at where those really strong winds, those 80-mile-per-hour winds, are coming in conjunction with the heavier rain, which is now sitting across a lot of southern New England. So we'll take a look at the schematic here and show you how that happens. So here's our really strong wind driving in, and then when you get heavy rain falling out of the cloud, it drags that momentum downward, and that's how we get very strong wind at the surface. You lose some of it. You don't generally get 80 to 90 mile per hour wind at the surface, but certainly you can get even stronger winds than you would get otherwise, which is exactly what we saw today. A lot of reports of trees down, power lines down, and that threat, well, down a little bit, but is still around across a lot of New England. So here you see some more moderate rains, but then some embedded heavier rains. So within those little lines of showers, there could be some very gusty wind. That's now coming up into the Boston metro as well. And wherever you see these little showers here that are a little bit heavier, that's where there's a little more concern for the possibility of some damaging wind. And in fact, I'm going to zoom in just a bit and take a look at this one pretty healthy shower that is now coming right towards downtown Boston. It's just coming right up through 495 there, and we'll be getting into the Mass Pike in short order. So as it does so, I would bet that we'll see some 40 and maybe 50 mile per hour winds. But in general, you've got very strong wind and a high wind threat, and that exists all along the coast there. This high wind warning has been extended through tonight in southeastern parts of New England. So that is the wet and windy side of the storm, but on the back side of this area of low pressure, you've got cold air coming down, feeding into the snow, and there's been a lot of it. We're looking at the very last of the snow here. It's just about ready to wind down completely in Buffalo, maybe another couple of hours there in Rochester. It's going to go on for a while yet farther upstate, but look at this. Rochester Airport, 17.9 inches in total, so an awful lot of snow there. And then Buffalo Airport, 8.7 inches. Very healthy snowstorm, considering we've gotten almost no help from the lakes in this case. So here's the model forecast. Here's this big arc of rain that will come up and into Maine going through the next couple of hours here. Snow winding down there in New York State. And then the entire thing lifts up and into eastern Canada by late tonight, and that's going to be the very last of our big old storm. So here's a look at the additional snowfall accumulation. Not very much. It's probably going to be an inch or less in the western part of the state, in Buffalo and Rochester, and we're thinking maybe just a little bit more in some spots, especially in far upstate New York into the northern part of the Adirondacks. And one more thing to tell you about, there's a very powerful upper low that is now coming down across the Tennessee Valley, the Ohio Valley, and along with this thing, we're getting some rain showers, a little bit of snow on the backside there around the Ohio Valley, and some rain now coming into the Atlanta metro. This thing doesn't have a whole lot of moisture to work with, but a pretty strong feature, so some showers on the way in Atlanta, in Chattanooga, and actually already coming to Chattanooga and moving into Knoxville as we speak. Alex, Dave, back to you.